Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. Today, I was actually short of ideas for this week, so I thought, well, we could actually go back and cover the Holiday Bricktacular of LEGO Masters, because we really got very busy over Christmas and New Year's and just didn't have a chance to really share our thoughts about it. And so what better place than here on Between the Studs, right?
I love it. I
love
it. Yeah.
Today, I'm joined by a great cast of LEGO fans here at the store. We have Randi, who's been a regular attender of our LEGO Masters coverage before, and we got Steven, who is actually a former LEGO Master and LEGO Masters contestant. So it's like we've been the experience. We're gonna have a good time. There were 3 episodes to the holiday special, which I was very impressed by. I'm like, that's a pretty big production for like a little. It could have been 1 episode,
just for
could
charity.
Have been 2
Small thing, yeah.
Right.
3, and then 1 was 2 hours.
It's a two-parter, right?
Yeah.
This is like a third of a season.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty impressive amount of effort put into this, and also the backgrounds and everything was fabulous.
Yes.
So let's do overall thoughts of the holiday special in total. Let's start with Randi. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I loved it. The first episodes, I loved every single one was like the fire, cue the fire,
Yeah, exactly.
cue the snow,
The
cue
snow
the
effects. Yeah.
I feel like they didn't spare anything. They made sure it was a great production.
Exactly.
I loved it. Was
They had
really
so
enjoyable.
much fun with that budget.
Right?
Whatever it was, like spend every dime.
Exactly. I think they probably got not far off of a LEGO Masters season's budget just because of all the decorations.
They have actually straight up had a LEGO Masters budget for a smaller show, and they were able to spend it on all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, because you're seeing giant snowflakes in the background, giant ornaments, a huge Lego fireplace in the
Lights
back room,
everywhere.
lights
With
everywhere.
the stockings, I love those stockings.
They're pretty iconic
Right,
now.
yeah.
They took a moment to show some of the background stuff. Not a lot of time, but we got to get a glimpse of it, and it was really cool.
The giant toys and like all the snowmen. There's a couple other things like that. They're just everywhere. It's crazy.
So overall, very impressive, very entertaining to see and watch. It very much holiday spirit. I mean, it was just oozing it, and it was very enjoyable to see that. So if you don't like the holidays, this isn't the episode for you.
If you're the Grinch, you're gonna hate this.
If the holidays aren't your jam, then just don't even tune in. But yeah, for most people who are willing to just take a little break, it's not every day, but it's a fun special occasion, right?
It really is, yeah.
Cool. All right. And so there were 3 episodes like we mentioned. The first episode was a launching of a vehicle. Now, do we remember the exact title of the episode? I don't remember.
It was a snowmobile.
Snowmobile.
That's what it had,
Snowmobile episode.
Yes.
A moving vehicle that had a little like a hook
ramp.
that just kind of launched it off a ramp, and they all had to build a vehicle and characters to go on top of it. It looked like they all were about the same size, so maybe there might have been some size restrictions. But what were you guys' thoughts on the episode, this first episode, as far as the challenge goes? Let's start with Steven.
I liked it. It was new. We hadn't seen anything like that before. There were a couple of repeats later in the show, but this was a unique one. They had to build their own chassis. So we haven't really seen that yet. That's actually a lot of work. It's tedious. You want to make sure it runs smooth.
Got to be strong.
They got to be strong, which they really got to be strong because nearly all of them were destroyed at some point or another. I liked it, but I was a little confused. Only a few times you actually got to see where the car landed, and I'm not sure how they judged the car's actual landing. But
was it the impact? Was it where the bricks ended up?
Yeah, where it was the furthest piece? Was it like how does it work? I don't know. But other than the slight, that was kind of confusing for me. But other than that, it was really enjoyable. I think I liked Boone's a little bit better than Dom and Ethan's. Not Ethan. Oh my word! I'm still on season 3.
Dom and Cheryl's.
Dom and Cheryl, or Daryl's, as we would call it. Daryl's. Maybe. I don't know. I think I like Boone's a little better, but all in all, it was super fun. Everyone was clearly enjoying themselves, and you could tell the celebrities were just starting to okay, this is really confusing. They're thrown in the deep end.
I don't think a single celebrity had a lot of physical building Lego experience. So
everyone had an even playing field of non-Lego, usage.
Exactly. What about you, Randi? What did you think of the first challenge?
Oh my gosh, I thought it was so fun. I loved watching. I think at the beginning you saw the celebrities were all like, my expertise is 0.
Yeah.
Nothing. They were asking Amy and Jamie, what is it, please?
Yeah. When Cheryl was running around, I don't know what I'm grabbing, and she's just like throwing stuff in and bringing. But towards the end, you could tell they were really trying to help and really trying to get the right.
They got into it.
It was great to watch that. Like, how your love for Lego can grow.
The evolution over just a few short building sessions is pretty impressive.
Well, they had 6 hours to build it too, so I mean that's pretty.
That's okay. That's
okay.
pretty good.
When you have one person that can build it, I guess I'm sure they were trying to help and get that other person to feel like they're a part of it. But,
Yeah,
the
none of these
celebrity.
challenges are very long. Even the final was only like, I think it was about 10 hours or so. I don't have it written down, but it was
Not
so
very
pretty
particularly
short
long.
challenges.
Yeah.
You don't get a ton of time to really flex your building skills so much in that short time period, especially with a partner who you're just teaching to build with Lego.
Yes.
So, but that being said, I still like some of the builds. They had very Christmassy feel. Like let's start with Mel and Leslie had the snowman and the carrot stuck inside.
That was pretty grim and awesome.
Yes, I love it. It felt very Natalie. I loved it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so that the carrot had, like, I'm guessing, murdered the snowman, and they were taking it for a ride. It was pretty.
Leslie's got a dark sense of humor. You
I
can
do
totally
like
see
how
it.
Mel, when the judges came up to Mel and Leslie, and they were like, "Hey, this looks a little fragile. I think it's going to break as soon as it launches."
Rebuild it.
And they completely rebuilt that snowman. So kudos to Mel and Leslie.
And
for
the snowman
pivoting.
did survive most of that trip, but
Yeah.
the carrot,
The carrot
did
fell
fly
off pretty
Carrot
quick.
fell off before it even started.
But the snowman made it through. Then Robin and Boone were next with their build.
Yeah.
It was a pink convertible.
I did
and
like
Sam's little secret.
exactly. Yeah. No, the Christmas
so
tree
fun.
was driving, which was fun, and then
Yeah.
the pink convertible. You could tell Boone was like, "I'm just going to build a cool car."
Yeah.
And he was just enjoying it.
That's the
So-
prompt.
great.
I'm building a cool
Yeah.
car.
And I think theirs kind of stayed together pretty well.
I agree.
Maybe compared to some of the other ones when it went down the.
Some of the tree
Yeah.
came off, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old Christmas trees do that in high velocity.
High velocity.
so,
Underneath.
so
Yeah, I'm sure
Natalie,
they've fallen off the car before.
Natalie and Finesse, letters and ornaments. They had delivering the letters to Santa. I think
Yeah.
that one shattered a little bit, and they even had trouble building a little bit. It
Yeah.
was falling apart. It was a little bit, but they got it together, and I like the fun inclusion of the other LEGO Masters
That's the
contestants.
Christmas
Yes, right,
ornament.
yeah, the
As the
ornaments.
grumpy ornaments,
Yes.
yeah. So.
I really like that one because I like the uniqueness of it. It's a paper airplane.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's actually really, it's supposed to fly. A car doesn't usually fly, so the paper airplane is
Yeah, if you think
more
about a letter
on-brand.
flying
Yeah.
to the North
Yeah,
Pole.
Yeah.
it's whimsical, you know. I really like their concept. It was really good.
And then the final build was Dom and Cheryl's Christmas tree, which when it launched, it seemed to lose every
Everything.
branch.
Everything
It was
was
just the bottom.
gone.
And the chassis
Yeah.
just flew like an arrow.
Right.
Woo!
I'm like, of course it would fall. It was literally just a
Pizza slice,
It was aerodynamic. Yeah.
And ultimately, Dom and Cheryl won the challenge because theirs, first of all, went, I think, just a little farther than everyone else's, and they liked the aesthetics. So
Right.
that wouldn't have been my choice, and you guys can feel free to chime in too.
I accidentally
But-
said that earlier,
Yeah.
But no, it's fine, it's fine. But I think that the judging for the Christmas Bricktacular overall was a lot less competitive. It's not like
Oh, yeah.
it's not like ride or die. You're going home if you lose. It's just kind of like whoever wins gets to send money to their charity of choice.
Right.
So I think that's pretty. I because of the low stakes nature of it, I'm fine with a team
Yeah,
that I
it
didn't
was-
necessarily would have
Yeah.
picked for winning. So
Totally agree.
yeah. What do you think, Randy?
Yeah, and I feel like Amy still gave them really good critiques and like what she liked
Yeah.
and didn't like and ways to improve, and I think, but made it fun and enjoyable. And she loves the whimsical, so I think it was really fun for
yeah.
her. It seemed like the judges were having a great time.
Yeah.
I
too.
think the judges were basing their decisions more off of what they just preferred. They just liked. Like, I like this one. Let's have it win. Not really.
Yeah.
I don't think they were nearly as rigid as a full on like Lego Masters.
They weren't
season.
scrutinizing over things. They were
No.
keeping it very positive.
They had some suggestions to make sure that they performed well or this or whatever,
Yeah.
and let's up it. Let's do even more. That sort of
Yeah.
thing. But I really felt like they were just like, we're here just to have fun. I think that was the whole atmosphere of the show, which is really refreshing, frankly.
That was
Right.
the memo overall. Was just have a blast. It's
Yeah.
all
It's
kind of
Christmas.
low stakes.
Tis the
So.
season.
So that was good. I'm sure they were trying their best, but it seemed more chill. It might have just been the editing. Might have
Yeah.
been that the judges were less strict. I don't know. So either way, enjoyable to see when it can be a little bit stressful in the main series. So.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's about all we have for the first episode.
I have a question before we go to episode
Yeah,
2,
yeah,
though.
no.
Did you guys have a celebrity that makes you kind of like that team? Or I know probably for you guys too, that the builders were more of the celebrity than the
Oh
celebrities.
yeah. I didn't know anybody, but my favorite celebrity, and I'm not trying to be mean, but my favorite celebrity was Robin. Robin
Right,
was
yeah.
really cool. He's also really trying to pull his weight. You could tell he's a little more competitive than the other group, I think. And he was real, maybe not.
He
Finesse.
seemed very into the building process, so I think that was helping Boone already.
I
With
think he's a somewhat creative guy just naturally, and he seemed to really enjoy what he was doing, and he really appreciated what Boone was doing too. So I really liked that. He gave a lot. So I think Robin was probably my favorite of the bunch. But yeah, I was rooting for Natalie for most of it, like, go Natalie in season 2! But I was also rooting for Boone quite a bit, because I know how much he wanted to win his season. And he's a really cool guy, so I was definitely rooting for him.
And he can
also.
sing.
He can
He
sing.
can sing.
Natalie
I
can
didn't
sing
know
too, though.
that.
Don't forget.
Natalie
Okay.
can sing too. She actually records
Really?
songs.
She's got albums.
She's I think she feels a little bit more pressure and she doesn't want to sing live,
Okay.
but she does. Yeah, she's
I'm gonna have to
professional
look- I'll have to
basically.
look
So-
that
And I know, I believe she doesn't want to
Natalie
be...
Cleveland, yes.
I know
Correct.
she doesn't want to
Yeah.
be compared to Boone in singing. She doesn't want to take something away from Boone, I guess. So they didn't get a chance to sing on camera together, which I think would have been really fun. But what it is what it is.
Yeah, so
Fun.
Randy, did you have a favorite celebrity or even just some of your favorite characters from the Bricktacular?
I was always a fan of I'm all LEGO Masters wise. I love Natalie. She was one of my favorites of season 2.
She's popular.
I like Boone's personality. He draws me to him. I'm all like, he
Boone's
seems
great.
funny. And I love how everybody kind of picks on Dom for being the young kid and everything.
He got a lot of
I
that.
got a few opinions
or
on Dom.
or the young Will Arnett. What did he say? He's going to play him in the prequel.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was fun. But I do love Leslie Jordan. Bless his,
He's
and
adorable,
and so it was fun to see him. It was fun to see him have Jordan. And I was a big Will and Grace fan way
Yeah.
back when. But so it was really fun. I just felt like it was very lighthearted and fun. So it was fun to watch all of them.
When they first announced the celebrities, I was a little bit like, okay, these definitely aren't A-listers, but when watching the show, they all did a really good job. So I think it was
They did.
well chosen. right?
Everybody was very funny, and everyone was
Cheryl
really
was hilarious.
Everyone was really on board with
Yeah.
performing alongside Will Arnett. Like they just knew what to do, and it felt like there was no like. Some people are very awkward around Will Arnett, like they don't know what to say. All of that was gone because
Yeah.
even if you did feel awkward, you had your celebrity right there who could tell just the same jokes as Will and could really
Right.
bounce humor off each other. That was the comedy, in my opinion, was like the best it's been like in the entire series. Is with all these really smart, really funny people. So everyone just hats off to everyone.
Well, Finesse with the one-on-ones was
Finesse was
so
so
funny.
good.
And that's
Yeah,
he's on a
he was
skit
fun.
show, so it's great.
He's
he was
good,
so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable.
That's his 9 to 5 is to
Yeah,
do that
right,
sort of
yeah.
job. It's he blended in perfectly.
So it's
Exactly.
great. And I feel like there was an unsung hero of episode 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Elroy.
Elroy, yep.
The little elf holding on to the tree
Oh,
that got stuck in the
vaporized.
launch. He's in the launcher.
He got
Those
vaporized.
arms were up and he was...
That's right. I forgot about that.
Poor Elroy didn't make it. That high velocity got him.
That got me the biggest giggle. It may have been because I was watching late, but it was so funny.
There you go.
Yes. No,
Okay.
So that was
Yep.
a good first episode. Great cast and
Yes.
very enjoyable. Good introduction to the series. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Episode 2 rolled up,
Episode 2.
and they had the trying to build a Christmas sleigh that spanned big chimneys like these behind
Like
us.
these
Yes.
ones?
Just
Here?
like
Yes,
these.
just
These
the-
huge
yeah.
things with snow on the top.
that.
And
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
almost put something across right there and add
You
some weight
could
to
do
it. You
that.
could almost,
It was almost those exact dimensions,
Yeah.
actually. It's pretty
Who
amazing.
would have thought?
Anyway,
Go back and relook at that.
but yeah, so
Yeah.
all
We
four
mostly how we
teams-
got him.
All 4 teams built a cool sleigh with, I think there was, again, very specific size guidelines for
I'm
them
sure.
to
Yeah.
build because they all had the tracks and
Yeah.
all the points were in between. So like the sleigh where it went to the tracks was actually inside of
Right.
the
width. Yeah, it was
outside width.
determined
So
by
because
this.
everything was just within that size, I'm sure they were all like, it has to be this size, and then what you do on top is whatever you want to do. And the
The
runners
sleigh,
can be as
yeah.
long as you want, but it has to kind of fit within that kind of guideline for these bases.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I think that was definitely something that the producers were like, you got to build in this.
Yeah.
So
I think
but,
that was the case.
But yeah, so what did
I
you
love
guys think of the bridge? It's basically the bridge challenge
Right.
over again. What did
Yeah.
you guys think? Let's start
I
with
love it.
Steven. So.
The bridge challenge is one of the one of the most popular challenges in USA, LEGO Masters USA,
Yeah.
hands down.
Super iconic.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Star Wars is more popular than the Explosion Challenge generally, and then the Bridge one. It's like at top 3. So it's really cool to see it come back. And I also love the fact that they had the weights with stuffed animals and stuff like that. That was so
Oh.
smart. That was so smart.
get the
That was
moose.
great. Yeah,
I
exactly.
really liked it. It
Get a
was
penguin.
just it was just tense enough to really bring the excitement, but not really too crazy. But I
Yeah.
gotta say, I don't want to jump into the winners too quickly, but I gotta say, I was really well. I'll just say this: I was really proud of everybody, but one person in particular for Mel. Like that was we haven't talked about it much,
Right.
but that was.
Redemption.
Yes,
was
I
amazing,
felt
but-
all of that. I felt all
He
of
literally
it.
was
Yes,
brought to
yeah.
tears, and I felt that.
Yeah, I won't go into it because we'll get at the end.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I really like Natalie Michelle's build, like the black and gold, and like that. That was a really good color scheme. It looked nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone did a good job.
You mean Natalie and Finesse?
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
you
Natalie
guys,
Finesse.
you
Sorry.
can't help it.
I remember
You're
Natalie.
doing it.
Natalie's the one.
We're gonna drop their original LEGO
Yes.
Masters
We're
teammates.
just gonna call them by the
names
Lego
in.
Masters.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry. They
Right.
did probably did most of the work.
Finesse and Natalie did a great job.
Yeah.
with theirs.
Vanessa and Natalie did a great job.
Yes.
Loved it.
What about you, Randy? What do you think of the sleigh challenge?
I
overall?
love this challenge. It brought me back to school and having your toothpicks and making a bridge and how many pennies can you put on it. So it was the nostalgia. Maybe that's why it's so popular in the U.S. I feel like most kids in public school and probably at home have done some sort of something.
Exactly.
Like, with
it
that.
Seems
it's
very
so fun.
Yeah, it's like it's a fun. It builds tension. It's a very entertaining challenge for sure. And I thought all the teams did good. I actually have the weights here. We'll go into this in a second. But I thought it was a great challenge. Fun to see the bridge challenge with a different spin. So it was fun. I love the stuffed animals because last time they were getting unsafe with some of the metal weights that they were using before because they're heavy and they're all really concentrated. This time it's a big fluffy stuffed animal. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Right. Yeah.
So they were much more safe with this challenge than they were in prior ones. So
probably
greatly appreciate that. So
yeah.
But moving to the numbers, the first team, this is basically by order of when they appeared.
Okay.
But Finesse and Natalie went first, and they had 186 pounds on their sleigh before it fell down. And that was the sleigh that slays.
The sleigh that slays.
The sleigh that slays.
I
Great,
love that.
great
I love
name,
it.
guys.
That was so great.
And Finesse and Natalie, I think, leaned into Natalie's style of fashion, and I think Finesse was able to definitely get on board with that style and that vibe because a couple of their builds are kind of fashion or even influencer based, kind of like from where they're coming from.
Their style.
So,
absolutely.
Very
Style
cool to
theme.
see that. So.
Yeah.
But then, so Cheryl and Dom had only 86 pounds on theirs, and that was It Takes Two. So they had Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus at the very front, and then they had the back ready for all the stuff. So
it was Bowen before it even started. That one was it was sitting up there, and I was like,
Cheryl was like,
supposed to be doing that?
Is there supposed to be daylight between the bricks? And then Dom's like, it's fine. No, don't worry about it.
It's not fine, Dom.
So and thankfully no one goes home, so it's not too big a deal.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they definitely were struggling with the strength department a little bit. But they 86
We've
pounds,
all been there.
Yeah.
86 pounds, not too bad. I think that's a pretty large build to make in that time frame, too.
Some of the hours. I forgot.
I don't have the hours with me.
Oh, I didn't write it down on this one.
It wasn't that long, though. It wasn't. It was
7 hours, 6 hours?
I'm thinking it was around 8 to 10, but I'm not sure.
It was around 8 hours.
You'd have to go check. Maybe Morgan can let us know in the comments.
Right.
Anyway, they had a fun time, and thankfully no eliminations, so, they're just enjoying themselves. And so Leslie and Mel got to 320 pounds with their rocket around the tree. Rocket around the tree, that's right.
Rocket around the Christmas tree.
Rocket around the Christmas tree. And so theirs was rocket themed. It was very big and brick built, and they had these big yellow runners that were really cool.
A lot of interesting techniques. It was hard to pin down what Mel was up to, what Mel and Leslie were up to, but they had a lot of like sideways, snot work, this sort of thing going on.
It was strong.
It was like an accumulation of ideas that seemed to get them over the finish line.
Yeah.
But that's a whole me, at least me and 50% more sitting on that.
320 pounds. That's like you
are in another half. Like
exactly.
Literally.
That's almost us two. Not quite. I'm a little bit heavier than that.
Yeah, I weigh around 190, so like that's like Natalie, I would have fallen through, but imagine me sitting on that like. That's really impressive because it's system brick, you know? It's just these little...
Next year, it's what we need. Old LEGO Masters sitting in the new LEGO Masters contestants.
There you go.
See if they make it.
No, that's dangerous. If I fell through, that would hurt like crazy. All the bricks.
They'll pat it,
But that's actually not a bad idea.
So theirs was good, and they ended up winning, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Then Robin and Boone built they got up to 521. With their supersonic.
That's a couple of me.
Right?
So that is definitely both you and I standing on that. So
comfortably.
And that's you could see that Boone and Robin were both working on a very different technique for their runners. They had what looked like a locked in like a core, and they had an exterior, almost like a sandwich, like an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know what was going on in there, but it was strong.
It was very strong.
Stupidly strong.
Yeah.
Boone living up to his name. Last time he cleared 1,000 pounds very easily. Him and Tyler both did, but. Boone's build especially looked good. He's definitely living up to his name, going halfway.
That was something else,
Exactly. Especially
521 pounds.
Oh, man.
Limited time, constrained physical space you can build in. Like, they could only build those runners connections to a certain point. You couldn't overlap the whole sleigh, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So it was an interesting situation. But yeah, in the end, though, it was just the top two strongest builds that went to the top two. And they picked Mel and Leslie for the aesthetics, and they won. And so Mel just had a moment.
Right?
Man. He was on his knees.
Well, they showed the previous episode when
he got eliminated.
Oh, my heart
you
broke.
see his eyes just start to stream and stuff like that. It's just, man.
I love this for them.
Congratulations, Mel and Leslie got to just join in on the fun.
And I really like theirs. I like the aesthetic of theirs. I
did too. I was a little worried about Boone's build because it was a little bit rectangular. Like it was cool. Like it had the lightning bolt and the color was nice. Not quite as seasonal though. Like the theme wasn't quite as seasonal. I think that's what the judges were like. We like this Christmas looking sleigh. I mean, I didn't like the gray bricks on the side. There was a couple here and there. Maybe they ran out of red. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
But there's a few that could be a discussion for later. But
it's debatable.
But you know what? Congratulations to Mel. Like if I had a chance to go back and do that shake challenge and then win, I would have been like over the moon. Like that would have been insane. So
did you hear that, Fox?
Yeah. I'm not going back to do that one. No, you're not. You're not putting me through that again.
I want to see you do it.
No.
You can do
but
it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I think that you can see the reasoning behind that choice, and it also just makes great TV.
Oh, it did. It made good TV. I was invested in that moment.
That was one of the most like, what's the word you're looking for?
Heartfelt
moments in the entire USA saga. I'm sure they're just like nothing else was quite that special.
What a life-changing moment for Mel.
Exactly.
Right,
Anyway, so that was episode 2.
That was Santa 2.0. That's what they called it, the Sleigh Challenge. That's what they called it.
There we go.
Written out, that's what it was.
2.0 with just
like ho ho ho.
Yeah.
Ho ho ho.
Alrighty, yeah. So that was a fun episode, and that was actually shorter. That was 40 minutes, so more like a typical LEGO Masters episode. But then we get to episode 3, which is a two-parter, basically, because they had
4 episodes.
A challenge initially, and then they had the finale snow globe one. That was 2 hours. A few minutes over 2 hours, in fact.
It didn't feel like 2 hours, though.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. The first part was my favorite, so maybe that's why it felt faster to me.
Yes. The first part was just to get an advantage in the second part of the episode, and it actually wasn't a gigantic event. It was just like a theme. You get to pick which theme and assign themes. So that's kind of a sort of, but it's not like you get more time to build or something like that. So.
I actually kind of liked it because for our season they would have random draws for color, for all this other stuff, and in this one you get to play for that advantage. You get to play for, like, imagine if we could pick our own color for our theme, like our cars. We had to randomly pick a color for it, or pick a number, and then you pick a color and line up. But here you get to actually see that as part of the show. So I'm like, yeah, that's refreshing. They do this on Australia all the time. It's nice to see it finally come here to the United States.
Exactly.
I wanted to see you guys run and knock over a table. I wanted to see him go and get it.
Yeah.
I love those.
Thankfully, I don't think they actually ran to anything in this season. I think
no running.
They might have got the clue from season 3 where people were actually injuring themselves.
Steven
and Steven were wrecking ball everything.
He knew what dog he wanted, and he was going for it.
Yep. Steven, Crash Steven, wasn't letting anything get between him and his objective. So good for them. But I think that they probably wanted to dial it back a little bit for
safety.
So
I'm sure.
That's probably why there was no running.
Yeah.
And maybe because Leslie is probably not able to run, and they just want to make sure everything's safe. So
At the time, he was in like his 60s or something like that, if I recall.
What was it?
He was in like his 60s at the time,
Leslie?
if I recall. Yeah, Leslie.
No, he was a little older than that.
Was he older?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But so for whatever reason, no running, and that's good.
Yeah.
But so the first build of the advantage build was, and I was actually presented with Cheryl and Dom, and they had the treasure hunt board game.
Yep. And they didn't make a new toy.
Yeah. So the new toy. So new toy that was
the prompt.
They also had to present it in this cool little stage.
That's
the infomercial.
Exactly.
It's like the puppet show.
I love that. That's fun.
I thought that was great. Yeah.
With the cheap, like $19.99. Order now. Call this number. I remember those vividly from the 2000s. Those were everywhere. Exactly. Battery sold separately. That sort of thing.
That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bobby is not an actual lemurcorn.
Yeah.
It's not an actual unicorn. Battery sold separately.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Joke hazard.
So I loved their build. I thought that doing a board game was very clever, very simple,
really cool.
smart creation. So, And then we also had the next build from Robin and Boone was the Bobby the Hip Hop Lemurcorn.
Yes.
How classic.
Yeah. With the moving, you could make him sing.
Exactly. Moving mouth.
And the moving mouth.
And his tail.
They made a puppet. It was a really smart idea. Boone knew something. I think he learned from his season. He decided to make a character which you can put your emotion onto. You can put your, it brings back nostalgia.
You want to play with it?
Exactly, because the board game is really fun, but not for everybody is it
Not
like,
an emotional connection.
No, that's
Yeah.
more of like a trip, like a journey. It's not
Yeah.
really like something that's your best friend.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of the one of your best, your
Could
toy
be.
best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Boone recognized that from the previous season. Like, you know what, characters are pretty strong. Let's go with a character, and it paid off. It was really good. I liked it, and the
great.
jingle they came up with.
Yes. Oh.
That was so funny.
Two very musical guys having a good
Right.
time with that. It's also worth mentioning every build had to have at least one power function. So something had to move on it.
Really?
So that's why the tail moved on Boppy, and you also had the movement inside the puzzle,
Right.
the
Which
board
was
game.
really good.
The board game had the tail, the tiger, or the
Yeah,
tiger
the
paw.
tiger paw.
The tiger
A
paw.
lot
Yes.
of the figures.
That
was great.
was great.
Some good stuff.
Yeah.
The third build was from Leslie and Mel, and that was the magic castle. So
Magic
like magic
gingerbread.
and imagination
Yeah,
castle.
yeah.
And so it was gingerbread and candy cane themed. It was pretty cool.
There was a dragon.
It was a castle. It was a
Castle.
castle. That's important.
So good for them, but I think that they chose a pretty big idea for the time allotted.
Yeah.
And
They
they
scaled
might have
down a
run out
bit.
of time a little bit. They'd only had one gingerbread guy. If they had made a few more gingerbread characters, I think they would have done a lot better. But
Yeah.
that being said, they'd still had an impressive amount of build.
Oh, yes.
It reminded me of my old Lincoln Log sets that I had.
Yeah.
For some reason, it gave me
Yeah.
back that old-timey, old Americana feel a little bit. That was a nice touch for that. And there was certainly a lot of tap dancing and all that. Very,
Yes.
very. That's new to the show. Very interesting. But
Leslie was having a ball presenting this build.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So
yeah,
cute.
he was the little star of the show.
Yep.
Alrighty, and then the final build for the prelude to the finale was the Finesse and Natalie's Dreammaker 3000 camera. So
They're-
what did you think of this, Randy?
Their infomercial won it for me because they were selling to the parents. Instead
Yeah.
of calling your kids annoying, call them creative.
That's good advice.
That's a tremendously positive outlook. It's
It was
great.
so great. It
that's a
was
good way of
just
looking at it.
and they had the accessories sold separately.
Exactly.
With
exactly.
the Dreammaker 3.
The
But I thought
mustache.
it was super cute with the props and they had the camera and it was so cute.
That camera looked really good too. And
tripod?
when the light turned on like automatically, then the judges said like I was literally like that's the camera. Here's my focus. Here's the shot. They started to get in their TV mode once the camera turned on because they thought it
Yeah.
was part of the. They instinctively thought it was part of the show. I'm like that's true. And so it was. I think they really pulled it off, and the tripod that worked.
Yes.
That's a really useful
cool.
tool, actually. A Lego tripod
Yeah.
that would work. It's really creative. So good.
Yeah.
They got a top 2, right? They were the top 2 for that
I'm
one?
not sure which ones. I didn't write down.
I think it was.
I think they were.
Yeah, I think
the
they were
Dreammaker
silver
and,
medal,
yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
And the lemur corn.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
really liked that one. It was very smart, very good modern toy. This is really neat. I liked it.
So fun entries overall, and really fun to see a lot of time for this episode for them to present their ideas
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and really get to see the character and the fun that they're having. So great.
So fun.
Great part of the episode. And actually, I mean, this is on par with the finale Snow Globe part 2 because this is more fun. There's more interaction. There's more. It's maybe less, not necessarily less building, but you got more personality.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
get
for
to
sure.
just enjoy the build and talk about it and stuff like that. It's I agree.
Absolutely. But the winner of the advantage was Robin and Boone with their Liam McCorn, which I think was the
Oh,
right choice.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
They've actually, I think Robin and Boone have been a little bit, not necessarily underrated or overlooked, but, they've been a little bit in the second place a few times.
They were
and
the bridesmaids and never
Exactly.
the bride.
Yeah.
they were always just a little bit short of that win, and for whatever reason,
Yeah.
be it good TV or just, and so they got the advantage, and that was to pick their theme, which they wanted to do the Toy Factory, which is
Right.
really a great idea.
Oh.
And then they got to assign the themes based on like who would like this, who wouldn't like that, and so I think the only team they were really trying to get mad was Dom and Cheryl
Yeah.
because they've been having a fun.
That was on
rivalry.
Robin. I know
Yes,
Boone wouldn't have minded at all. Like he did not care. He was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I get to give people this cool stuff." He would just only have a positive spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Robin though. He was clearly trying to get at Dom a little
Well,
bit.
Dom was kind of poking fun at them for a while,
Yeah.
and then so Robin picked up on it, and he ended up just giving it right back at him, if not more.
So
Oh,
fun.
yeah,
It's
so-
so fun.
Robin knew what he was about. He knew what he was doing, and Dom did not really know. What he
I
was
know
gonna
your
get
mind games, Dom.
Yeah, he's like, don't tell him. Like, I can see through your lies and stuff like that. Like, and Dom was like, wait, what? Oh, pushback.
He was baffled, yeah.
So, yeah, That was very satisfying to see, like, you know, Robin kind of almost stand up for Boone, because Boone would have probably just said, "Oh, we're building this," which is fine, but there is some strategy about not telling what your build is. So Robin is clearly like, "Don't tell him, don't help this kid, because this kid's coming for us." So I'm proud of Robin for
fun.
you know
Exactly.
You know,
The banter was great.
And
it really made it so fun.
At the end of the finale, they also kind of resolve it too, because
I'm sure it's all fun,
they gave him a little hug. He's like, I see myself in him when I was. He's
got a step in his a swagger in his step.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
So Robin wasn't really like, it wasn't malicious. It was actually really lighthearted and fun.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, so the final builds, the challenge was to do a snow globe. Now, we've seen this in the Australia
I loved it.
seasons.
So
Have you
good.
seen that
So cool.
Australia stuff?
I have
Randy?
not seen that. I need to add it to my
Yeah,
list.
it's on Tubi. That's the easiest way for
Season 3 has a snow globe.
Yeah, it's the easiest way for U.S. citizens to watch it, because otherwise you have to get like a VPN and stuff. It's kind of hard.
Oh.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah, Tubi's pretty
Tubi,
easy. It's free,
you can do that.
just with
Okay.
ads. And then so this is similar to what we've seen before in other seasons of LEGO Masters around the world, but it's the first time the U.S. has seen it. And I thought they all did very good. What did you guys think about the challenge? Let's start with Randy.
Oh, I thought
Snow
it was so
globes?
fun. I love the whole snow globe idea. I like that they all had their own little theme, and it was so fun. As soon as they said snow globe, I was excited to see
It's
what they
gonna
were
be
gonna
good,
do.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew it was
I
going to be
jumped
great.
out of my chair.
Yeah.
It was a great challenge for sure.
Yeah. So for me, that was a really cool one. One of my favorite episodes, period, is from the Australia one, which is the snow globe. They were way larger in that episode, and they actually they held the camera on the model for a while. You could see the snow build up, and you could see the model start to change and stuff like that. It's such a cool idea. These domes were a little smaller. I could tell they were a bit smaller, maybe about half the size. No, maybe about 2/3 the size.
Shorter challenge.
Yeah, a shorter
too,
challenge, a
so-
little smaller. But I'm so glad it finally came to the United
so
States.
good.
It was such a good finale pick, because you can build whatever you want, but it has to be like in this little confined space, which adds a little bit of a prop.
So not too big.
Yeah.
Easy to film.
It's nice to have that little
Cool.
bit of freedom too, because everyone else build a car sleigh thing, build a big bridge thing or whatever, build a toy. That's a pretty rigid prompt. So it's nice to see them do whatever they want. So I'm like, we got everything going on here, and it was just so satisfying.
Exactly.
Love the entries.
They had a spherical canvas in which to create.
Yeah.
So, yes. But so the first build that was presented was actually, it was called Oppie Boppie Copy. So Operation Boppie Copy.
Because their theme was the Toy Factory. That's the globe
Exactly.
they chose for themselves. Was Toy Factory.
Perfect choice.
So
Yes.
making lemurcorns to fill the last few orders before Christmas. It was
They went
great.
viral. They
Right.
got to make more.
As soon as they picked that, I go, there better be a lemurcorn in there. I was just like, there better be
That was
one in
Boone's
there.
idea, right? Let's have him build unicorns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Boone.
I think
Oh, it was
Boone was
great.
really leaning into the Toy Factory as the idea, which is probably one of the better
Right.
choices.
Oh yeah.
Especially for that team.
Yeah.
But, and I think most of the finale builds had a little animation to go with it, so you got to see quite a bit of the build and how it would work.
Well, didn't they have to use a power function again in this one?
One, I think, was a minimum.
I think
Was
so.
one? Okay.
Yes. Again, so definitely wanting to use the motion and power function,
Yeah.
especially on a small scale. Good
Right.
idea. So, but
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I love the Toy Factory because I feel like it was a 360. Like
Yes.
every
Completely
angle.
360.
And it had the spinning going one way, the other spinning going the other direction.
Very
and so
complicated.
it was great visually, but I just feel like that's one, like, since it is a globe, you want to be able to look at all angles. And so I
Exactly.
feel like that was an advantage that when they designed it, that was really great.
And I absolutely loved the one moment you could really see the love for this competition and building on Boone's face when he got the mechanism to finally work. He's like, yes! He's swinging his fist up in the air. He's punching at the ceiling. Yes, yes, yes! So he had it, and he got it, and I would have been just as excited because that mechanism was bewilderingly
So
good. And
good.
it seemed to run really smooth, too.
Yeah.
You had the 4 spinning elements, and then you had the 2 spinning elements going opposite directions in 10 hours. I mean,
Right.
like, this is a really complicated build, and just killed it.
Right.
Like,
I was wondering if the snow would mess anybody's up, but I don't think it did in
no,
any of them.
it's just a
once
little
it started
styrofoam.
flowing.
Little
Yeah.
styrofoam.
Thankfully, they all seem fine with the snow. So,
Yeah.
But a great
Good.
build by Robin and Boone, and excited to see them really do well. We'll talk about the results in a second. But Leslie and Mel built the Snowy Fairy Forest,
Yeah.
which was very cool because they had Snowy Forest was their theme. I
Yeah,
think.
the
Yeah,
forest.
Snowy Woodland Forest.
Snowy Woodland Forest.
I would have wanted that one
Yeah.
so bad. That is so.
That is
what I would
you.
want.
That is
I had like
yeah.
the perfect
Yeah.
scene involved too. I'll tell you later.
Yeah, but they built a big tree trunk and they had the fairies spinning around at the top, and they had all these little details that could be covered in snow. So a fun build from them. I think that this one might have not had as good a 360 like you were saying,
Yeah.
Randy. So maybe it might have fallen short a little bit on the composition, but still good. And good to see Mel and Leslie put out a
I was
great list.
missing the Christmas vibe, the seasonal vibe of it. I didn't really feel. It felt like late November. It didn't feel like
like winter
Christmas
versus-
Day. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't feel quite like
Right.
that. It had a winter night, nice wintry feel to it, but not really the prompt I was hoping.
Yeah, with as an example, Robin and Boone's build, there was a giant Christmas tree in the center. You
Right.
can't miss it,
Yeah,
right?
it
Yeah.
felt very
Can't
Christmas
miss
from the
that.
get.
This was maybe a little less Christmassy and might have just lost a few points because
Right.
of that, right?
But you know what Leslie's Mel's did have? It did have Will Arnett riding a bear.
First time we've seen Will Arnett in the
Animation.
in the scenes before, right? I mean,
I
is
don't
it the
know
first
if
time we've
they
seen him
put it
in the models?
He isn't often included by LEGO Masters in their
really?
builds. So that was kind of fun to see.
Yeah, it's
That
kind
was
of a new thing.
hilarious. On the bear was just
Riding a bear, like,
hilarious.
oh, that's
yeah.
pretty
It was pretty
That
fun.
was-
What's interesting is that minifig head that they used for Will Arnett is actually an older, like 80s and 90s head.
I'm surprised they had
So I'm
it.
surprised it was
Yeah.
in the build brick pit because none of those pieces from that era are usually in there. But anyway,
the parts were all new, but not the minifigure.
maybe they had more
Right?
minifigure pieces than.
Maybe they
than
just kind of
before.
grabbed him from Bricklink or something. Like, hey, we'll just use these.
Yeah.
Well, we may never know. Anyway, the next build was Finesse and Natalie with their candy cane
Oh, this
fashion
is kind of
show.
sad. Oh.
And if they had got that sign to fit inside, I think this would have been
They
a
couldn't
real
get
contender.
the permit from the city.
Exactly.
He said he couldn't
Great
get-
story, but yeah.
That's brilliant. But the word art was really good. Like
Oh,
it was.
was.
And just a minute.
I wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted it
Not
in
enough
there.
testing, Natalie.
And I think that this is really a testament to Finesse too, because I think he was really responsible for building that sign, and it looked very good. So
great.
Yeah.
that's a quick turnaround from I have zero experience to building a detailed sign at a
Creative
Lego.
guys,
Yeah.
looks like, yeah.
So congratulations to them. I know
that's
that it
great.
didn't quite work out the way they'd intended, but still, I mean, I'm proud of them for their journey. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, a few tests earlier, they would have seen that the thing was too high. Throw a few bricks off, it would have done. Oh, so close.
So close.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I felt really bad for him because it's,
Yeah.
you know, and they gave him the 10,000 at the end though. That was very nice. So
Exactly. Despite not being able to get into the winning circle,
they just gave it to him
they
anyway.
still got
Nice.
a donation to their charity. So I mean, like everybody wins in the end, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Everybody
why
got
not?
it. So it's great.
But so they did good, and I even liked the motion for their little fashion show
yeah,
people,
they're walking,
presenters
yeah.
out there. They're moving around. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So it's, and I think Jamie even mentioned how the motion was a very nice feature. So
And
Yeah,
the
they're doing
figures
their
looked
thing.
the figures looked really good with their Christmas kind of clothes with
Fashion.
kind of candy cane feel to
Seasonal
them. Yeah,
fashion
the
show,
professional.
yeah.
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
Natalie and Finesse's fashion coming through again.
Yes.
So very good.
on brand.
But the final build to present was Cheryl and Dom's Miracle in Miami, which was they tried to give them the hardest idea, but I think they just rolled with it and
They
did a
did,
really
yeah.
fun build.
Well, didn't she say she's from Florida?
Yep.
So yeah.
And Dom has lived in Florida, or probably at least visited Florida.
He's been to Florida, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So they both had Floridian experience and really leaned into that tropical vibe. So,
Yeah.
but what did you think of their build, Steven?
Okay, I really liked it because we grew up in Florida, so we never saw cold weather of any kind, no matter what the season was. And it was really cool to see that. I really like their color choices. Like you had that bluish skyline, that blue sort of vibe going on with the tan and other things.
Palm trees.
The palm trees as well. The moon function was pretty cool, a little rudimentary. Just like, yeah, like it's pretty cool. That one not nearly as impressive as the whole turning everything, but I really liked it. I really liked the snow aspect to it. It was a really good build. I think Dom really, Daryl, really brought something to the table. It was really really good. So I don't know. Maybe in the past I've been a little hard on Dom as being mostly into Lego sets, but this time he really changed my mind. He did a really good job on that one.
What about you, Randy? Did you like their build?
I liked it. I agree. I love the colors of it, and
was really
I
good.
thought it looked really cool. But I got like more of a postcard feel than like a snow globe because I'm like, what does it look on the other
Yeah,
side?
that's
That was
true.
where again I was thinking globe, so I kind of wanted like a 360 of
Yep.
all of them would have been great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like, does the other side have what? Because
It was plain.
So
yeah,
yeah,
so that beach could have been a rounded, like a fisheye view
Yes.
versus a flat view. So that's a little bit more complex building. So
Yeah.
you could always get on composition. Yeah, maybe it's a little flat, but that's okay.
I mean, a finale build, like a build, doesn't necessarily have to be 360, but it is a bonus if you have 360.
for the globe
I
idea, I
just
think
felt like
it
for the
factors
globe.
in more.
Yeah, that was my only reason is because of the globe. But I love when the snow hit it though. I liked it more
With the lights too,
Yes,
because he
yeah.
really got those lights.
He
No
did.
bulbs were present. You couldn't see any light bulbs. or anything. That's good stuff.
How it was silhouetted looked beautiful, and then when the snow hit it, it looked really
it
really
wasn't
pretty.
necessarily round, but the snow effects I think were very effective on that one, really and also the fairy forest. The snow was more impactful in an outdoor setting, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but and then that was the 4 final builds. I think that all the teams really, I mean, you can't really tell if they really got along, but from what we saw, they all seemed to be jamming at the end, right? They all were working well together. They were friends, and so that was cool to see. From zero experience, never have met the person, didn't even know who you were getting on your team, to being having a great time. I think Robin and Boone were like, we're best buds now, and they were like, absolutely.
There'll be an album out later.
Exactly. God, they can do a Christmas album together.
Exactly. So that was super cool to see. Ultimately, though, Robin and Boone's Oppie Boppie Copy won them the Bricktacular.
The coolest looking trophy ever.
Oh my gosh, that trophy was amazing.
It was a very cool looking trophy, no pun intended.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Your guys' is great.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
we'll be the first to admit that blue trophy is way cooler. Mine's larger, fine, but that one is way cooler. And Boone was just grabbing it at the end. It was going
transparent
nowhere.
blue pieces. And I know Robin said that trophy's coming home with me, but
it's not.
I bet you Boone managed to arm wrestle him for it.
I'm sure Boone got that home.
Hopefully he did. I'll have to ask him.
We need a picture of who has that on their mantle, please.
Yeah. They take turns.
I really hope it's Boone.
They shoot it back and forth. But so that was such a cool trophy. Congratulations. I have to say, if Boone had not won, I think the internet would have rioted.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people,
so good.
Not myself included, but a lot of people thought that he probably should have won the first season.
Mark and Boone. We'll just make sure both of them.
Both Mark and Boone. That team, a lot of people were like, they got robbed. So, I'm not going to weigh in on that, but all I know is that whatever the facts may be, Boone did get quite a redemption at the end, winning the trophy, getting to be the winner of that special. Is very cool. So.
And there was no question who the winner was in that show. In
overall,
that finale. And the overall was good too, but for the finale specifically, there was absolutely no question.
It was beautiful.
It was the best.
There's no executive that could ever have overruled that decision because it's clearly that Boone and Robin had the nicest build. Most function, fun story, tie into the previous build.
Good teamwork.
Great color, great teamwork, great presentation again. 360. Just like, what more could you want?
It was the full package.
That was not just a minor season build. That was like a full-on LEGO Masters, fully realized, eliminations included build. Like, that was a really competitive build.
I hope somebody keeps that and puts it somewhere, like as a display at Christmas or
I hope
something.
they do.
I hope so.
It was
They should
really
put that
beautiful.
at least put it in like Disney Springs or something. I don't know, somewhere. It's
all those
cool.
snow globes were very cool looking. It could have been displayed elsewhere. I don't know if they got disassembled. They didn't say anything about displaying it elsewhere, so we don't know.
I hope they keep it. They might not, but I hope
so
they
good.
do.
And now I want a lemur corn.
Their
marketing hit me.
Speaking of stuffed animals, can we mention something real quick?
Yeah.
Mel kept a moose weight from the challenge. He posted a picture of it.
Stole one from set.
He stole a moose. He's got a moose from his proudest moment.
I love it.
So he has one of those stuffed animals. I'm like,
you can look them up at Iceberg Bricks.
Iceberg Bricks.
Okay.
And someone in the comments said, you are taking this to every convention ever from now on forever because we want to see it. Because the moose from the camera. So I'm like,
I forgot about that, Stephen. That's great.
I don't know if we can ever get you a lemur corn, but maybe there's some moose floating around there and we could get one of those. So yeah.
I do know that after the filming, both Mel and Boone drove down to visit Atlanta Brick Co.
Oh, and Dom was there too.
Dom, I think so they went the first day, and then all three of them went the second day. Natalie was tired and wasn't able to make it, but they all got to see the store. We all got to go out and have dinner together. It was a really fun time.
Amazing.
And so the fact that they have been to the store and they love it and they had a great time here is really special to us.
We actually have a few pictures of, remember Arms Band? We had everyone. That was when Dom was not with us. But I'll tell you one thing. You mentioned it looked like everything was more relaxed. I guarantee it was more relaxed because I was talking to Natalie on our chat and with a bunch of other people too. And she was talking about her experience. It was way, way more relaxed. She actually went out. The reason she didn't go with us is because her and Amy and Jamie, and I think Robin too, all of them went out to a couple of bars. And they kind of partied a little bit. They had some fun, so they had some hangover the next day. So she didn't want to come down to Georgia, down to Noonan. But apparently, yes, they were going out, hanging out together with the judges, other stuff like that.
So fun.
Chilling out. In the previous 3 seasons of LEGO Masters, there's always a lawyer there from the game show commission.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to make sure everything's fair. So no talking to the judges,
No,
none of
hanging
this.
out, no
Yeah,
buddy
oh,
buddy.
yeah.
And
nothing.
so this apparently that was all didn't matter because it's just being donated to charity.
Nobody's
So they
leaving,
could
no
hang
money.
out with the judges. They were allowed to talk and chat. And so
That's
how cool is
It
that?
felt really fun.
Yeah,
It really
This
did.
is the closest
Yeah.
we have ever come to Australia for the USA, and I mean that in the highest possible compliment. This was a really cool season.
So I'm glad I binge watched it last night to do this video,
too.
and same
Yeah.
with Randy
Yeah.
and Steven actually
I
saw
watched it
came out.
like a week
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah,
Oh.
but so I'm glad we watched it, and if you want to tune in, it's both on Hulu, the Fox Now app, and on Tubi. So you
Please
can watch
watch
it.
it.
Yes.
Please
It's
watch it.
great. You definitely want to.
So 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Absolutely.
And with that, thank you guys for joining me and sharing your
Thank
thoughts
you.
on the Holiday Bricktacular. And we'll probably cover more LEGO Masters once Season 4 finally rolls around, probably next year.
Yeah.
There's casting for it now, so if you are interested, go ahead and apply at the LEGO Masters website. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We got plenty more coming out later. So we'll see you guys. Thanks.
Take care.